So somebody in the comments yesterday asked what Moscow time is. And so I figured I would just explain. I know that there's people in this chat who are aware of this, but I think it's worth talking about. So Moscow time came from a block clock and Jack Dorsey. So I think this was actually back in 2020 when Jack was on, I don't know if you'd call it trial, it was a virtual trial, but he was in front of the law, right? He was being questioned about Twitter, the election, interference, and some other stuff too. And he had this block clock, from CoinKite. They have the block clock where it says the price, the block height, all these different metrics. So he had a block clock sitting behind him. And so, of course, this wasn't like a Bitcoin audience. It was just a bunch of people who were interested in learning about Twitter and Facebook and the issues that they were having. So the block clock, I think, said like 1950 or something. People thought it was a clock, though. People thought that it was a clock, and that was the time in Russia. And that Jack was a Russian spy because he had the Russian time behind him. But really, it was the Moscow time, which was 1950, or I forget what it was. It was something like that. People mistook it for the time, though, when it was the sats per dollar. So it's been since unofficially or officially called Moscow time, which is the measurement of $1, how many sats that'll get you. So that's the story there. Jack had a block clock, and people thought that he was a Russian spy or a Russian agent because they thought the block clock meant it was the Russian time. So that's where Moscow time came from. And Moose Jaw time was created on Nostr, actually. So we were talking about the Canadian version of Moscow time, and we named it Moose Jaw time. So that's the story. That's what Moscow time means. It was just a big misunderstanding and a funny story. That's usually how things come to life. But the Moscow time today, $1 will get you 1,454 sats. If you want to be Moscow rich in the US of A, you need 1 million sats minimum, and that's going to cost you $688. It's going to cost you a little bit more now after seeing the price increase. So the thing to keep in mind here with Moscow time is that when the price is going up, Moscow time is going down, right? Because you're getting less sats for your dollar. Your purchasing power, your dollar purchasing power is going down in comparison to Bitcoin. The price in Canada today, let's update this because this is going to be pretty close to 100K, I think, again today now. Saw ShakePay cut their rewards. That's not ideal, but that's part of it. That's something that we got to get used to. The price today here in Canada currently is 96,901 Canadian dollars. Moose Jaw time, $1 Canadian will get you less than this, but around, I'd say, 1,020 sats. And if you want to be Moose Jaw rich here in Canada, it's going to cost you just under $1,000 for 1 million sats.